I'm live. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Uh, I'm running a little behind because I just got through watching the episode of the Traitors. I had to finish it before I came on and did this show. So sorry about that. We're going to talk about that in a second. What an episode. What an incredible episode. All right. Welcome aboard to Cliff Notes Live. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. Let me start off with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV, kind of loving Traitors right now. And certainly loving you guys that come and hang with me every Monday night, and those of you who watch replay, whenever that may be as well. We're getting into the thick of it with reality TV, aren't we? With Survivor coming up and all these reality shows starting to get towards the end. It's been a fun little period of time, and casting for Big Brother's going on as well. So we'll talk about all that. First of all, before, as I always say, if you haven't already considered doing so, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Please consider maybe turning on those notifications. And also, I always appreciate the thumbs up. I laugh every picture I have ever taken. It's got a thumbs up in there. So it's always fun. I ran into a guy who knew me from the show, and we were talking all that. And we took some pictures together, and it was really hard for me to keep my hands at my side and not do one of these things. That's just who I am. But anyway, please consider subscribing to my channel. It's appreciated. And as we get into the reality TV season, who knows what I'll be posting out there. So with all that being said, let me see who's out there, and then maybe we'll lead with the Traitors. God, it's so good. All right. I'm on a little bit of an adrenaline rush right now. It's like I was sitting in a chair at the Big Brother house, wondering if I was getting sent home or not, watching some of that. All right, let's see. Mark Taylor. Mark, how are you doing, sir? I hope you're doing fantastic. Ed's out here as well. Howdy, Ed. Maryland as well. Maryland, Kennedy, Franken. All right, see y'all doing a lot of chatting. I'm gonna go through the names and we'll talk at that. Kennedy as well. Kennedy, how's the got the job? All right, I'm gonna read more about it later, but I want to hear more about that. Let's see. And Michelle Moore as well. Hey, Michelle. Cindy, I hope you're doing fantastic. Let's see. Colleen out here as well. Hey, Colleen. And Ma, how's school going? I hope you're doing fantastic. I'm not gonna read the rest of yours. I'll see. Carol Mosier as well. Amanda. Let's see who else we've got here. I'm trying to go through these fast, guys. Patricia Miller, Colleen, Karen Hummer. Let's see. Desiree Watts as well. Desiree, how are you doing? And let's see. Is that about it? Yeah. Go as fast as I can. Let's see. Carol Mosier. I don't know if I got you. Audrey Cobb as well. Howdy, Audrey. And let's see. Why, Garrett? How are you doing, sir? Colton as well. Ed Chaz, and let's see, Julia Shepard as well. Hey guys, Patriot Girl 53 O'Mel as well. Cass Wash, guys, I hope y'all are all doing fantastic. Enjoying y'all's I know this is the time of year, at least down here in Texas. I know last time y'all were saying, oh, it's freezing cold. And it was cold down here in Texas as well. Not anymore. It's island time. Perfect time for Survivor. I had to go with a little bit of a Survivor theme this week because I'm getting a little pumped up. I still haven't gone through the whole cast reveal. I saw a few, but ready for that. Ready to talk about Survivor 50 as well. Some interesting twists thrown out on that as well. But before we do any of that, well, let me see some of the comments and we'll talk about it. Marilyn Sutherland saying, what do you think? OMG, wow, of Traitors. All right, let's just get into it. Ed, let's see. Ed saying as before I go into it, spoiler alert. Spoilers, whatever. We'll talk about what happened. So if you haven't seen the last episode, go plug your ears, hit mute when it's time to come back in. I'll do one of these things, but we got to talk about what happened on Traitors. So you've been warned. All right. So yeah, Maryland talking about that. Ed saying Carolyn's insecurities did her in. If she'd put her ego aside and played into her character, she would have won and earned the validation she wants. Yeah, I think. Okay. I think I'm back. Guys, tell me, yeah, the black screen for anyone else. Yeah, I'm gone. I don't know. I'm dog sitting, but I don't think the dog got in the way of my internet signal. It's just one of those kind of crazy weeks. Who knows? But hopefully I'm back and we'll have them. So all right, let's talk about the show itself. For those of you, hopefully y'all know if y'all are still here and listening to spoilers. It came down to the battle between Danielle and Carolyn to see who's going to outlast the other as a traitor. I'm curious for those of you, I don't know, maybe I don't want to know, who've watched some of the seasons of Traitor from non-celebrity seasons. Do the traitors turn on each other this often, or is this kind of an abnormality in terms of the gameplay? Because we had Bob the drag queen turning on Rob turning on Danielle, everyone turning on each other. Well, the final two left, Danielle and Carolyn, turn on each other. They both get a couple of votes cast their way, but in the end, Carolyn couldn't survive it. She accused Danielle, said, "Don't let those fake tears be changing your mind, or don't bring those fake tears." Well, Carolyn had a lot of tears, were they fake? I don't know. I feel like Carolyn was very emotionally invested in everything she does, including playing Survivor, including being a traitor. Carolyn got sent home. So much from, I really thought she was going to run this game from start to finish. I think in the end, I don't want to say her naivety, because I think she's very smart, but I think she just got played by Danielle a little bit. We saw during the initial, when they were playing those chess boards, Danielle was always thinking about the game, about how to set other people up. Carolyn was maybe a little more trying to be with everyone else, win some money. I don't know. I just feel like she got outplayed a little bit by Danielle, and it paid off for Danielle at the end. I still think that Danielle's been overplaying too much. Too many tears, too much emotion coming from her. But having said that, boy, she's bought herself a whole lot of time, I would think, by exposing by exposing Carolyn, and now she's been claimed as a traitor. All those people who were saying, well, at least one traitor had to be a woman. Well, now that's taken care of. They've had 3 traitors exposed, right? They've got to be thinking at this point in time, there's only one left. Maybe they realize that there's probably going to be 2 left at this point in time. And then we get the other surprise, and this is why I was a little late coming into the show, recruiting Brittany to be the new traitor on the show. We had to know this was happening, right? I kept thinking, I know Danielle wanted to do it. Carolyn said no. Well, now Carolyn's not there to stop it. So we're going to get Danielle and Brittany perhaps running this show for a little while. But I do think there's going to be a lot of, they kind of threw Brittany under the bus a little bit. And we'll see how that, I want to see Brittany's expression when she sees that Danielle is a traitor, based on their heart-to-heart they had during the show. Oh, what an incredible episode. It is funny because I assume a lot of other people do the same thing. I sit there and think, how would I have played that out? What would I have done if I was a traitor, if I was a faithful? And I gotta say, at this point in time, they're running on so many emotions in terms of calling each other out and all of that. And that would probably be my weakness a little bit. I'm an engineer. I'm all about the logic. I'm all about the calm, collected, argue, throw someone under the bus, but do it calmly and patiently and all that. I don't know how I would handle when people start crying in front of me and begging and saying, I said no one ever respected my opinion, and some of the things that Carolyn did. That would throw me off a little bit. That would probably be my bit of an Achilles heel for me. I had some of that in the Big Brother house. People would start crying and all, and I felt for them. I felt bad. I went and told Holly that we are considering voting her out just because she felt so bad because she wanted to wear her best dress on eviction night. I probably should have done that. So, hey, lesson learned. But no, I love this episode. It was just so good. I really want to go out and watch some of these other episodes that don't have the reality TV people and see how they compare as well. And Danielle she's proven why she almost won Big Brother. I truly think she would have won Big Brother if the cast, the jury had been sequestered back when she played the game. She just played the game a little too early. But yeah. What'd y'all think? I mean, I'm sitting here going on and on. Ed, back to your question. Yeah, I think Carolyn she probably didn't, she could have done things a lot differently in terms of of arguing her point. I really, when Danielle went on the attack, instead of Carolyn making it all about her, that no one ever believes me and all this, I feel like at that point in time, she could have even really pushed the attack even harder against Danielle. You had some people who were saying, well, we know that's what you're like, Carolyn. This isn't just this show. We've all seen that. And I think she could have pushed that narrative a little bit. But at the end of the day, I also think that there was just that light bulb moment for several people that we saw where they're saying, we've never even suspected Carolyn of being a traitor. And I think in any reality show, there's probably times where a whole lot of people suddenly just will get that feeling of, what if we've been duped? What if all of our assumptions we've made are not valid assumptions? And once you get that freight train heading off the tracks, it's tough to get it back on. And so I don't know. What a great show. All right. With that being said, we done with the spoilers. Let me look at a couple of comments real quick, and then we'll finish up and move on to some other things. Carol is saying, heartbroken over Carolyn, rooting for Brittany. I'm a huge Brittany fan. I've loved her on Big Brother. She had the best diary rooms ever. She seemed like a very down to earth, very real, very fun person. I'd love to visit with her someday and just shoot the bull and compare experiences on some of these game shows and all that. But I'm heartbroken for Carolyn as well. I can't wait to meet Carolyn and find out how much of what we see is really Carolyn and how much is just her just knowing what people want to see. I have a feeling it's a lot of the former, but no, I really, really like Carolyn playing this game. And I liked her playing Survivor as well. So yeah, I feel a little bad, but you know what? It is what it is. Kennedy Franken saying, I got the job. I saw that. Let me give you a special whoop. It's the way we celebrate down here. Congratulations, Kennedy. Thursday is my first day. Shadowed last Thursday. Well, congratulations. See, sometimes what seems like not the best days, not the best situations, lead to brand new, bigger, larger, more exciting opportunities. I knew you could do it. I absolutely knew you could do it. Don't ever let any little speed bumps in the game of life drag on too much. Look forward, don't look back. And I'll stop with all my philosophicals. But Kennedy, congratulations. I was cheering for you, and I'm glad to see that. So congratulations. All right. Michelle Moore saying, your season was on Pluto TV this weekend. Didn't get a lot done around the house. Probably just, well, I didn't know. All right, let me call back the people who may have been waiting because of spoilers before we go into anything more. Come on back. Come on. We're here. We're ready to talk. That is cool. I know Pluto TV runs Big Brother, and I ought to go out there. I've told y'all before, and it's still the case. I haven't seen my entire season. I've only seen up to day, 37 or something, right around when we get, maybe a little later than that. Right about the time you get to the jury segment is as far as I've gone. I need to watch the rest of it. It's just, I don't know. It brings up, even now, it brings up a lot of emotions. I feel like I'm a very stable kind of guy. I can handle stuff. I just told Kennedy, look forward, not back. But it still brings up a lot of emotions, good and bad. Just remembering everything that happened in that house. The highlights, the lowlights. But having said that, I had a lot of fun in that house. There was a lot of downtime, but I tried to have fun. There was no one in that house that I hated, that I disliked. I mean, we didn't all get along all the time, and there's certainly people that I didn't work well with together. We just ended up on opposite sides, but there's not a single person in my cast I don't ever see that person. I can't stand them. Each and everyone, they're family, whether they want to be family or not. They're part of my family, and so I do have a lot of fun memories to fall back on. So yeah, I may have to check out Pluto and do some of that. That's cool. It's a shame we don't get paid for all those repeats, and we don't get any of that. But it's still cool to see my smiling face out there every once in a while. All right, Desiree Watts is saying Survivor 48 on Wednesday. So excited. Oh, I am as well. Audrey Cobb is saying, can't wait for Survivor. Mark Taylor saying, have you watched the preseason entries for Survivor? Who will win in your opinion? All right, Mark, I was going to try to do that before I did this show. I couldn't do it. It may be just as well I don't read too much about it, although I will read where they're from, professions, things like that. So I don't know enough to say who I'm cheering for, who I'm not cheering for. There is one guy, PE coach from Waco, Texas. So he's from my neck of the woods, and I always cheer. My parents are both teachers, so I'm always going to cheer for the educators. And I think his name's Mitch. And so, without knowing anything more than he's a teacher, he's from Texas. He talked a little bit about dealing with speech impediments while growing up, and I think that's kind of cool that you have someone that had an issue as a kid that you would think would never allow them to actually go on a show like this, and they're doing it. They're showing that you can't be limited by some of the things you dealt with as a kid, whether it's stuttering or being bullied. There are lots of things that make people think maybe they can't do it. Believe it or not, as a kid, all the way up really until college. I don't know what happened in college, but up until college, I was very shy. I mean, I was incredibly shy. I was a kid in the very back of the room that would never raise his hand, that would never say a word. I was just very, very quiet. That's just who I was. And who would think that I'd be a person that would go on reality TV? So here's Mitch doing something similar with a speech impediment. And so, not knowing anything else beyond that, Mitch may be my initial pick. But having said that, I'm going to watch those first 15 minutes. They're going to be coming in on the boats and all of that. And there may be I'm sure there'll be whole new groups of people that are going to be exciting to watch and all of that. I did see an interesting thing. Erica from one of the past seasons of Survivor. It seems like that wasn't that long ago, or seems like it was a while ago. Anyway, Erica came on. She was posting, telling the people, saying, for those of you who have, are getting ready to go on the show, it's already been filmed. Now you're watching with your family. She's saying, just remember, this isn't a documentary. This is entertainment. So there's going to be things that you wish they'd shown. There's going to be things that you don't think were explained thoroughly. She said, this is just one story they're telling. It doesn't have to be your story. Don't let it taint your experience of being out on an island if you feel like you weren't shown correctly and all of that. Now, Big Brother, we had a little bit of that, but being 24/7 with those cameras, you don't have to worry about that quite as much. And you're not watching it. Yeah, we are inside the house, so we aren't watching it while everyone else does. So different experiences for Survivor. But she also pointed out that for all of us people watching, don't judge too much who these people are based just on what we see on the show, because there is a lot of stuff we're missing out. We're seeing, 90-minute episodes, I think, again this season. We're seeing 90-minute clips of 13 weeks or so worth of 90-minute clips that represent 26 days worth of time out on that island. There's a lot you're going to miss. And so I've said it before, and I'll say it again, with any reality show, I'm not going to judge anyone too harshly based on what little we see on the shows themselves, where they're put in a high stress environment and all that. But having said all that, I'm excited to see who's going to be playing the game of Survivor. And Mark, who are your favorites? Throw out a couple of names. Let me see who you're cheering on, and I'll check them out and see how much we're in agreement with this stuff. I forgot. I still remember the very first season of Survivor. I'd already watched Echo Challenge, which was Mark Burnett's kind of adventure racing show. Already in love with that. And then when they announced that Survivor was going to be on, all excited for that, to the point that I set it up to record on a VCR, had it scheduled to tape on CBS. I think it was, I don't remember what night it was back then, Thursday night, I think. Recorded that very first episode. Whole family watched it from the very beginning. Fell in love with the show. I mean, Big Brother, it's my show, so I'll always have a spot in my heart. But Survivor was the granddaddy of them all. Well, Real World as well, but Survivor, incredible. So yeah, can you tell I'm excited? Can you tell I'm ready for reality TV season to kick back in? I am indeed. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Mark Taylor saying, how many cameramen work Big Brother at any given time? Did you meet any of them? All right, little story for you on that. First of all, because they're behind the mirrors and because they're running the remote cameras, we didn't know. We never had any clue. Every once in a while, you'd hear someone scurrying around, or someone's cell phone would go off. I always worried someone's going to get fired if their cell phone went off and we heard it. So, yeah, but it's hard not to respond when that happens. But after the season was over, we had our backyard interviews with all Parade and Entertainment, and Rob has a website, all those places. We did all those interviews. Then they led us into, there's like a gym that's down in the basement level of the Big Brother house. I guess it's for CBS workers. They can go work out in this gym when we're not using it for whatever. So they had turned that into, I think it's a gym. Yeah, at one point. Anyway, big open space that they had cleared out. And we had kind of a post-party situation only open to people with CBS, I guess, production assistants, cameramen, things like that. Unfortunately, as soon as I got in there, I spent the entire hour and a half or so just talking to people. I didn't move. People just came and talked and all that, and a little bit overwhelming because we had just gotten out of the house. But while we were being led there, one of the guys who was leading there said, "Oh yeah, I was one of the cameramen." And I asked him, I said, "How many people were back there filming at one time?" And he wouldn't really tell me. He did say that it varied a lot based on what time of the day it was, how active things were going, how many people were in bed. I think it had to do with early in the season when there's 16 of us in there versus towards the end when there's just 3 or 4 boring people in there. But he said, yeah, at night, you have a core group that's still running the cameras. They're always watching. He said during the day, yeah, you could have a dozen people or so in there, and don't hold me to that because I don't remember what he said, but I feel like he said something like, all in all, not necessarily at the same time, but they're like 30 or 40 cameramen. They're just in and out and doing stuff, running different shifts and everything else. I did see a shot from Survivor where they pulled back, and I don't remember who posted it, saying props to all the support people that do Survivor, the cameramen, the sound people, the PAs, all the people who do this stuff. And they pulled back, and you see the survivors here talking and hanging out on the beach. And then they pull back. There got to be 50 or 60 people lined up on that beach, filming and monitoring and sitting in chairs. It's got to be so surreal to be on that beach, hungry and knowing you stink and that your life is on the line. And you look over at all these people just hanging out like it's just a day on Cancun or something. I kind of a weird dichotomy with that. But yeah, a lot of people work on these shows, and I'm very appreciative that hundreds and hundreds of people put in a whole lot of hours just so I could go on the show and act goofy in a Big Brother house for a while. All right, Chaz is saying, what would your strategy be on Survivor? What would you change or do the same as far as you approach Big Brother 21? The big difference, I think, Chaz, is that with modern day Survivor, you only have 6 people on a tribe right off the bat. If you're not in part of the big group, you're in trouble, right? I mean, there's nowhere to hide. Now, I knew on Big Brother that being the older guy, there wasn't going to be a lot of places to hide. I would probably be an easy early target anyway. But with Big Brother, I feel like as long as you can just get friendly with a few people and just do the minimum amount necessary to create a bigger target. I mean, there's 16 people. All you have to do is find someone that you can present as a bigger threat than yourself, and hopefully you're good enough. I always said in Big Brother, I think I'm either going to go home week number 1 or 2, or I'm going to stay until the very end, because once I get a chance to kind of talk to people and kiss up to them and do whatever you have to do, I feel like I can sell myself and sell my loyalty and stick around. But until people know that, it's a little bit harder. So my strategy in Big Brother was to figure out 1 or 2 people that I felt like I could work with long term. And in my case, that was primarily Jackson Mickey, because he was the first camp director. Everyone was gravitating to him from a charisma standpoint. He just seemed like a person that I could depend on to, let's just say, I ride his coattails a little bit until I got a little further down the road. But my idea was to find 1 or 2 strong people, and then just try to make sure I found another target or 2 that would keep me safe for the first few weeks. With Survivor, I think it's different. It's not just finding someone to target, or finding 1 or 2 people. Because you're in a tribe of 6, you've got to immediately find 2 or 3 other people, and just promise them whatever. They don't even have to believe you long term, but I really feel like you just have to sell your soul to those folks and hope that you can get in tight with them to survive the first couple of votes. After that happens, then maybe you show yourself. I've always had a tough issue with that, because from what I would do, because first of all, I've got strengths. I think when I play Survivor, I'm a heck of a swimmer. I feel like anything involving swimming, anything involving rowing, I will beast anyone else when it comes to rowing and canoeing and things like that. I don't care if you're 20 years old. I will demolish anyone when it comes to rowing and canoeing. Call me cocky, but I just feel that way. And I do well in swimming as well. running down the beaches, running up mountains and grabbing vases and things like that, maybe not my strong suit. So I very much would have to, I'd have some areas I'd do well in, others I wouldn't. But for these past few seasons, we've seen where typically one person from each tribe is tasked with going off and either doing a mental task or a physical task. And Asia, for instance, in this last season, she chose to do it. And we've seen some people do well with that. As much as I would want to show that I could contribute doing a mental puzzle where I feel like I'd do pretty well, I would be so paranoid about being away from the rest of the tribe and not able to work on that alliance. I think my strategy, I've talked a long way around to get to your answer. I think my strategy would be to identify the person or two that I felt was the most unifying, the most charismatic in my tribe, and stick to them like glue. Stick to them to the point that they would have to work with me, because I would try to not give them opportunities to visit with other people any more than absolutely possible. Now, it's probably easier said than done, but that would be my strategy, is just try to not be a pest that they get tired of you, but certainly hang around enough where they feel comfortable talking to you and maybe not so much other people. I think that's what I'd have to do. And it's hard. There's nowhere to hide when you get these tribes of 6. All right. Laura, let's talk about, we'll come back and talk a little Survivor as well, but Deal or No Deal Island. Y'all want to talk about that? I saw some comments on that. First of all, another spoiler alert. If you haven't seen that, it's hard with all these shows streaming and recording and all that. Y'all have asked when that show is on. I never even know, because we just recorded all. But spoiler alert for Deal or No Deal Island. All right, you've been warned, and then we'll talk about that, and then we'll go back to Survivor if y'all want. Cindy Hire saying, yeah, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Will was eliminated. Cindy saying, I agree about Dr. Will being eliminated. Oh, Ed saying Dr. Will sucked. He tarnished his legacy. Cash Wash said yes. Guys, without, let me just say this. Chad saying disagree about Dr. Will, considering how big his target was. Shocked he made as far as he did. Didn't think it affected his big brother legacy. Don't think one has to do with the other. All right, I'm going to agree with all three of y'all on different areas. I don't really think it affects Dr. Will's legacy of playing the game of Big Brother. People are still going to consider him one of the icons of Big Brother because he played it early. He played a little bit differently than people have played it before. And I don't think you can take that away from him. I will say this. I think I said it last week. Just because he played great during his early seasons of Big Brother and did well, I think he'd get eaten alive playing later seasons of Big Brother. I think people are just more aware, more cognizant, more strategic maybe than back when he played the game. I think he would have a much harder time of it with that. As far as his experience on Deal or No Deal Island, I have zero problem with him being gone. I dare say, happy to see him gone because, and I could be wrong, and maybe he'll call me up and correct me, but I just don't feel like he was there to win the money. I feel like he probably got paid a decent amount of money to show up and be an instigator, be a troublemaker, be someone to stir up some chaos and bring on the drama and do everything possible, with the recognition that he probably was not going to make it to the end, and he didn't care. He was just there to play a role. And I don't mean that production said, we want you to do this. Although, I wouldn't put it past him either. I think he knew what his role and what his expectation was when he was hired to do the show. A lot of us do cameo, right? And some people get very full of themselves and charge a lot. Other people don't charge so much. I'm down on that side. No one needs to be paying me a lot of money to do anything. But Dr. Will got pushed to do cameo for a long time. Finally, he said, all right, fine, I'll do it. But I think he had like $1,000 to do a cameo. Some incredulous amount of money. I feel like he was playing Deal or No Deal Island a little bit like he did of his cameo, of basically saying, I don't want to do it. I have no desire to be there the whole time. I just, pay me enough bling, and I'll come in there and I'll make a name for myself. I'll cause all kinds of trouble, and then when I go home, I go home and whatever. Carolyn was upset Uh, don't want to get his spoilers, but I just think he didn't. I don't think Dr. Will really cared. And with that being said, my season of Big Brother, I told y'all everyone's family, and I absolutely stand by that. But when I first came in, do you know who I wanted to target to make as my targets? The people who I thought weren't passionate about the game of Big Brother, the people who were the recruits, who hadn't really enjoyed watching Big Brother. They were just there because someone reached out to them. Those were the people that I was fine if they went out the door. Nothing personal against them, but just fans versus non-fans. And me being the passionate fan I was, get the people out who are just there because someone said they look pretty on camera. That was kind of my position on that. And I kind of feel the same way with Dr. Will. If you're not there to win the money at the end, get the hell out here. So I'm okay with Dr. Will. And yeah, I guess he brought a little drama, but I also think it was unnecessary. I think Deal or No Deal Island can have and should have enough strategy that it can stand on its own without bringing in puppets to stir things up a little bit. You know, it is what it is. So I hate to sound critical, but he was a great Big Brother player. Deal or No Deal on, he just came in to play a role, in my opinion, and we'll leave it at that. All right, or maybe not. We'll see. Cash Wash saying, when I think of Dan and Big Brother, I think of his legacy. When I picture him overall, I see him getting up, ate up by a housewife at the round table in Scotland. Oh yeah, no, it's hard, and because y'all have asked me before, would you do one of these reality shows again? Well, yes, I would, because I'm always willing to take chances in life, and I'm always willing to go on the crazy adventures with no guarantees that it's going to go well or go bad. But look at Big Brother. We did it. Nicole and I feel like we did a lot better than people expected. Nicole came on to All Stars the next season and just got eviscerated, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who feel like she tarnished her legacy by the game she played on Big Brother All Stars. She's playing against All Stars, right? I mean, give someone a little extra slack when it comes down to playing that. But yeah, Dan getting torn up, Nicole. I mean, when you come back and play one of these games again, that doesn't always work out. I can't remember who has said. I'm sure it's a lot of people have said, and I agree with this. No one wins Big Brother just because they're good. No one wins just because of strategy. There is a bit of luck involved in every single person who plays well, every person who goes home early, every person who goes home late, who wins the game. Some of it has to do with gameplay. Some of it just has to do with really good or really bad luck. And I'm no different. I could have had a different battle back that would have completely changed the game. Sam may not have won the first veto of my season and pulled me off the block. And then if it was me versus Kat, who knows who goes home at the end? I mean, the tiniest little change in luck could drastically affect you. And so when you go on to another show, I don't think anyone should ever get too cocky about how they're going to do. Man, if I got pulled on to Survivor or Deal or No Deal or Big Brother, Amazing, anything, I would not have any illusions that anything I've done in the past is guaranteeing me anything going forward. Cocky, sloppy, lazy dad. I feel like when you start off getting a little arrogant about how you're going to do, that's when you pay the price. So, yeah. Plus, Traitors is a different game than Big Brother, right? It's just a different setup. All right, Chaz is saying, I think Parv is a huge threat to No, I agree. She's a great player in all kinds of reality TV. Not as big as Will, especially because she got to start the game with everyone coming in late like Dr. Will. So I'll make it because bonds have already started. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that Poverty, the longer she's in this game, the more people are going to start zeroing in on her. She's done a great job, but the legacy, the target on your back is just so big. And the longer you last, you remember in Big Brother All Stars, you had Nicole, Franzel, and Ian, and they're saying, we got to watch out for each other because we've won it. We're going to be the targets at some point because it's too easy. Even if you don't really fear that person, it's too easy to say, they already won. Why wouldn't we get them out? I feel this is going to be the same way with Parv. At some point, someone's going to say, she's still here. Why are we not going after her? We know how cutthroat she was on Survivor, and there's also going to be, I think, a certain perception of, yeah, she's already had her time in the sun and the spotlight, and let's pass it on and all that. I think she's played a brilliant job of not standing out too much and adopting her family and all of that. But at the end, we'll see how it works out. I think in the end, and I don't know who it's going to be. I think we're going to see someone that's not Parvati, or I never can remember his name, the Australian Survivor winner, the Greek god or whoever that is. I think he's playing a brilliant game. I'm amazed people haven't caught on more about him as well. I mean, Dr. Will had called him out a little bit, but not out in front of everyone. I think both of them could be in trouble, but they'll stick around a little bit longer. I gotta say, I think that NBC and the people who do Deal or No Deal Island, they picked 3 years in a row. It's the second year, right? They've done a good job of picking cast, of picking people that are underdogs that you can kind of cheer for, picking some reality TV people that are good players, but not so over the top that you can't cheer for them as well. And I've enjoyed Deal or No Deal Island as well. Just saying. And then we got Extracted. Are y'all watching Extracted? I'm enjoying it. I won't do a spoiler alert on that one. Did I ever say come on back for a Deal or No Deal Island? If not, come on back. One more. Ed saying Deal or No Deal Island is set to have the biggest payoff ever. Oh, it could be a lot of money after Dixon brought a bunch of money in, right? Chaz is saying, think you're underestimating how competitive Dr. Will is. He likes to make it seem like he doesn't care, but he wanted to win. Chaz, you could be 100% right. He may have been, I mean, he played a different strategy on Big Brother that did well. He may have had a different strategy on Deal or No Deal Island. It just didn't quite work out. Yeah, I shouldn't. Here I am, the guy saying, don't be too judgmental. If I ever meet Dr. Will, I'm going to say, man, you're an icon. And it's such a pleasure to meet you. I met him the one time during our roundtable. So don't think that I'm ragging on Dr. Will too much. I'm really not. I respect everything that he's done. And I think he's got still a good feel for the games and all that. Maybe it's just I didn't understand strategy enough. Maybe that's the one fault a little bit of Deal or No Deal Island is compared to Big Brother. Big Brother, you see 24 hours or close to it, 23 hours, well, 20 hours with all the We'll Be Right Backs. But you see a lot of cameras. You see a lot of the activity. I think it's easier to understand some of the gameplay, the strategies, the reasoning. With Deal or No Deal Island, you figure we've got an hour of which at least 20 minutes or so is playing the game of Deal or No Deal with the briefcases. And then you've got a certain amount of time playing the game. You really don't have much time to see a discussion of the strategies, and you don't have as many confessionals as we do with Big Brother either. So I am absolutely 100% willing to admit that Dr. Will may have had strategy that it just didn't quite work out, and that he was there to play much more than I'm giving him credit for. Could be all on me. I absolutely. But I'll throw my opinions out there and tell you, and while also acknowledging I could be absolutely wrong. He did stir it up, didn't he? He caught some people off guard. I like to. I think the show's enough that I think I just like to see some organic gameplay, and I'm not 100% convinced that was all organic from his side. All right, Cindy is saying, I think David is doing great. No one knows he was on Australian Survivor. That's his name. Thank you, Cindy. David. I think he's doing fantastic. I mean, look at him. He's like Jack Matthews from my season of Big Brother. I mean, you go in there, you got the hair, you got the looks, you've got the physicals, everything, and yet he's still there playing the game and just doesn't ever seem to be too much on anyone's radar. So I think he's doing great. Are we going to find out before the thing's over that he was on Survivor Australia, or is it going to be at the very end? Either when he's booted or when he's at the very end playing the banker, that he'll suddenly reveal it and everyone else is going to be like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I don't know which way it's going to be going. I'm looking forward to the reveal, however it is, though. Parvati knows that it's him. Would she ever call him out? If it comes down to her versus, yeah, she would. Absolutely, she would, right? If it comes down to her versus David, where they're both at risk, I can absolutely see her whispering to other people saying, you think I'm the reality part. No, he's the king. And use that. That may be her get out of jail card free. Probably can only use it once, but I could see her at some point whispering that around and maybe saving her from one round of facing the banker or getting evicted or whatever. And then you go back to playing the game. I could see that, absolutely. All right, let's see what else we got. Ma saying this is true with Survivor with all the dumb twists. All right, well, let's talk about Survivor and all the dumb twists. Have y'all heard the latest Survivor? This is Survivor 48 coming up. 49 will be later this fall. But later this year, Survivor 50 will be taping, I guess this summer, this fall. I'm not sure when it is, but they'll be taping Survivor 50. And they came out within the last day or so and said that we as fans get to vote on a lot of things that are going to happen within the game. I assume it's going to start. I think it's going to start on Wednesday. Premiere Survivor, 2 hours long, Wednesday night, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, only on CBS. Yeah, you need to be throwing me a little bling here, CBS. At least pay for my Paramount Plus. How about that? Anyway, but yeah, I think every week during this season of Survivor, they're going to ask us to vote on things as big as, do you want immunity idols? I don't know, a lot or a little or none, or do you want them to have rice during the season? Do you want to have the fire making challenge at the end, or do you want to go back to where there's just 3 and it's all voting up until that point? And even something as basic as the color schemes, they're going to give us apparently like 3 or 4 choices every week. Maybe we get to vote on. That's kind of cool. Let the fans make some input into. Now, we've already voted on one season who we wanted to come into the game, but this time it's going to be about the game mechanics. And I'm looking forward to that. Once we see what they are, I'll know better how I'd vote. But I'll tell y'all right now, when it comes down to it, I'm going to tend to vote old school, if there is such a thing. I'm going to vote to let's make them a little hungrier than they used to. They're only out there for 26 days as opposed to 39. Yeah, you can survive 26 days without a whole lot of food. So maybe I'll give them a bag of rice and that's about it. And I tell you one thing, I would be perfectly happy to go back instead of 3 tribes of 6 to go to 2 tribes of 8 or 9 or something like that. I don't think they'll do it. I doubt we even get that choice. They really like that 3 tribe format, and I get it, because then you see different groups. There's probably more storylines as a result of that, and you don't see some people overpowered and all. But I'd love to see that. I'd love to get rid of a lot of the twist. You still have an immunity idol out there. I have no problem with that. That's been part of the game for a long time. I don't necessarily get rid of the shot in the dark. Get rid of steal votes, or you lose your vote if you take advantage, the beware stuff and all the recent twists. Don't come anywhere close to an hourglass that resets anything like we had. Was that Erica's season? I don't want to see any of that stuff. Let's go a little more old school, where you have fewer twists. It's a little bit more dependent on straight up strategy and discussion, and we'll see. I am curious to see how that'll work, but I'd love to. I have no problem with the fire making challenge. I always struggle with the point at the end where the people are saying, should I put myself in as a fire making challenge to get one more victory to help sell myself, or should I not take that chance and go straight to the final 3? And I don't know why I don't like that. You should be forced to make a little more strategic decisions at the end. So logically, I can't give you a good reason why I don't like it. I just feel like I like knowing at the end that you win the last thing and you make it to the final 3. I don't know. We'll see how everyone else votes, but we'll certainly be talking about it a lot going forward on this show about how did y'all vote and what do y'all think, and we'll make that little segment of the show every week. How about that? I think we could do something like that. All right. Excuse me. Desiree Watts saying, oh, excuse me. When all the house guests are in the HOH room for I'm dog sitting, in case y'all saw a little flash of black there. Says when all of the house guests are in the HOH room for a comp, what can all of you do in there? Can you have food? It depends on what kind of competition it is, Desiree. If it's a veto competition where we're doing it one at a time, the way it works out is that typically, if you're one of the 6 people competing, you are sent to a room by yourself and you hang out and you don't get to talk to anyone before or after the competition. When it's your turn, they call you out to the backyard, you do your event, you go back to your room. I always got the boat room for some reason. I was always cool with that, but everyone have a different room downstairs. If you're not competing in the competition and it's not a video comp where everyone can watch the competition like OTEV, then all of those people go upstairs to the HOH room, hang out. Yeah, you're always told, make sure you bring food with you, bring blankets, bring the backgammon, whatever you want to do to keep yourself busy for the next 3, 4, 5 hours, because we never knew how long these were going to be. And so they'd say, take whatever you need with you upstairs, including food. And the only rule when we got up there was they usually play music for us, almost always played music. The only rule was you could not talk game. They said, if anyone talks game, we're going to turn off the music. We're going to call you out. And then everyone else in that room is going to know that the music turned off because you were talking game and after we told you not to. So it's kind of the threat of getting everyone else upset with you. So we could go up there. We could talk about all kinds of random things while we were upstairs. You just couldn't talk about the game. It was interesting. Sometimes you would talk about things that weren't game related, but just things that you maybe didn't want the cameras to pick up on. I know at one point Holly was talking about, working in a game reserve in addition to being a wine sommelier and all, and that some people had, I don't know if it's pet. Anyway, people that were for against animal refuges and things like that. Anyway, you would have sometimes conversations like that that were kind of close conversations and all that, but you couldn't talk game. Other than that, they would just let us hang out up there. HOH competitions, I'm trying to think if we had any HOHs where we got sent to the rooms. I don't think so. I think we all got to watch all of those. But it was very similar rules to when we were on lockdown on Thursdays on the live eviction shows. We'd be up there for several hours while little elves ran around downstairs setting up cameras and replacing light bulbs and things like that. We couldn't be involved in any of that. We couldn't see them. They turn off the TV so you couldn't see downstairs, and we would hang out and they'd play music and all that. I still remember that final 4 or final 5 when it was Holly or Tommy, and Nicole and me and Holly and Tommy and Jackson are in that room talking about a cold, awkward setup for the 5. I don't think any of us talked at all. We just all sat up there and just stared at the ceiling. It was the only time I remember where it's just like, oh God, please let this thing be over with. All right. We've got a Chaz saying, do you have a relationship with Jackson Mickey? Despite how the game played out, I felt at the time that you guys would stay friends on the outside. A relationship, not so much. I mean, I'm quite a bit older than he is and all that. I'll see him on Instagram. He's doing a lot of running and marathons and things like that. And so, I'll heart some stuff and I'll post some stuff. So, oh man, so cool that you're doing this. When he had his baby, I was, reaching out to him and saying congratulations. And he's reached out to me a few times. He's, called on my birthday and things like that. So it's not that there's no ill will. I kind of depended upon some loyalty. It just didn't work out at the end, but I got no problem with that. You play the game, right? So no ill will from me to him. And I think it's vice versa. Jackson, for all kinds of reasons, some I'm sure you can guess. He didn't get the best reception when he got out of there. So it's not as though he's really stayed involved in the reality world. He doesn't go to the reality events and things like that. So I haven't had a chance to really just go, hey, let's go hang out and have a beer. I don't have that kind of relationship, but we're still fine. We still talk to each other once in a while. Cindy is saying, can you explain tonight's background? Nah, not really. No, Cindy, I was so busy watching Traitors. Like, what the heck am I going to do from a background? It'd be kind of boring if I just had a green screen background. So no, this just looked like a good Survivor. I see that, and all I can think is, it's as good as I can do as far as singing the Survivor theme. I thought it was all right, but no, I think that torch and that guy in the background, isn't that how Survivor used to end? I feel like when they first had the show, you'd play all the music and the drums and all that, and then you would pull back, and here's a guy holding the torch, outwit, outplay, outlast, and it just seemed to hit home this week. So the lone survivor, so to speak. All right, Michelle May is saying, Mashore is saying, can we see the dog? Maybe. Hey, Athena, come here, Athena. Come here. Come here. Come here. It's a different dog than Oakley. I told y'all last week I was babysitting a black lab. This is Athena, who is a Kerry Blue Terrier. Come here. Come here. Come here. I'm trying to get her. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come here. There's Athena. Say hello. Hello. All right. There you go. She likes her private life, I suppose. That's a thing. That's my daughter and son-in-law's dog. So we're watching her for a couple of days. We do a lot of dog sitting in this house, in this family. We love every bit of it. So there's Athena, and Oakley's the other dog that we babysit. Now she wants to be on TV all the time, or on the show. All right. I forgot what we were talking about now. Oh, Survivor. Yeah, it's gonna be good. For those of you, I don't ever want to do a disservice to my home Big Brother. They are casting the show right now. So if you haven't done your video, think about putting it out there. What is the worst that can happen? You could take a video that you get done and say, God, this is the worst possible, horrible video I could possibly do. And you send it in. Is your life going to be one bit worse off than before? No, you got nothing to lose. So send in your video. You never know when these casting people may say, he may not be the most polished videographer. He may not be the most I should say well-spoken. I mean, he may seem like quirky in all different kinds of levels, but he is perfect for this season. Yeah, you never know. You just can't think that success or failure is determined by getting on the show. Success or failure is all about you doing something that you normally wouldn't do. When I showed up at a casting call. I had zero plans to actually get cast. I just did it to kind of embarrass my wife and kids, but also just to say I tried out because why not? I had fun doing it. People are all laughing at the old guy in the cowboy hat trying out. But I'll tell you this, by the end of my 4 or 5 hours at the end, after I finally got my shot, everyone knew who the old cowboy with the cowboy hat was in that bar. Everyone knew who I was. So you never know where these things are going to go. So yeah, consider trying out for Big Brother. And we're going to be cheering for you here pretty quick. All right, let's see. What, 7:55? What am I missing? I don't know. We watching some shows and all that. We'll talk about that next week. I'm trying to think what we've watched. Still watching Joe Schmo, watching Extracted, watching all kinds of reality TV. Primeval on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, I'd be very curious to get your opinion of it. A little violent. But I also feel like maybe a little true to life of how the Old West was back in the day. I'm kind of hooked on it. I've only watched one episode, but so far so good. Let me know what y'all think about that one. We'll do that. I spent all weekend up in Dallas Fort Worth dealing stuff with my mom in the house and all that. So I was kind of behind on a lot of reality TV, but anyway, but it all filled in today with Traitors and Survivor and all of that. So what else, guys? Let me see if we got anything out there. We may just go. We may. You should send a video again, Cliff. Amanda saying, how embarrassing would it be if I send a video in again and they didn't know who I was? Just, hey, Cliff, I kind of like what you're doing. Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah, for better or worse, if the casting person is doing that, it may not be a good sign that they're the fit that you need for it. But I tell you what, I bet Kat Dunn is sending a few extra videos here and there to Big Brother and others. Again, I guess I should follow my own advice. What's the worst that's going to happen? It would be fun, and maybe I'll do it just to have fun. Dress up completely different. Dress up like a Red Sox fan from Boston or somewhere, and see if I can I don't know, put a fake mustache on and see if I can do a casting video as a completely different character from somewhere else. And yeah, they'll notice, and maybe someone will get a laugh at it. Maybe someone who's having a bad day will watch my video and say, well, there ain't a chance in hell that you're going to get cast, but all right, I giggled a little bit. Or they may just send a thing to say, tell this guy to stop sending videos to CBS because he ain't getting on this show while he's wearing a mustache and a beard and everything else. Who knows? We'll see. Karen is saying, what if they chose without looking at the videos? Now that would be an interesting mix, right? How would that go if you just randomly pick 16 people without knowing anything at all about them, that would be the true microcosm of American society, right? I feel like you'd need more than 16 to really be fair, but that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, just we're just gonna pull your names out of a giant tumbler that has 330. Well, I guess the kids can't compete. And you probably don't want a whole lot of 90-year-olds. Nothing against 90-year-olds. I'm sure there's some that could kick ass on Big Brother and other shows, but 330 million people in the US. Yeah, get the top 100 million or so and just draw out some balls. And now how'd that be if someone reaches out and says, "Hey, I know you didn't actually send in a video, but we just pulled your name randomly," kind of like, no, it's not jury duty. It's going to go on Survivor for 3 weeks instead. Yeah, do you think most people would do it or not? I have a feeling most people would probably say, "Nah, there's no way I'm doing that." But you'd have a core group that would say yes in a heartbeat. That'd be kind of fun. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how well that would actually work. They're so strict. By the time you see psychologists and do medical exams and go through all the background checks to make sure you aren't a psychopath, there's probably a whole lot less than 330 million people that would be eligible for some of these shows. But that could be kind of fun. I'm all for it, Karen, if they want to do it. I may still sneak in a video with that. All right, with that, guys, I think we're going to shut it down. It's been a crazy day, but I'm glad I got to see Traitors before I came out to talk to y'all guys. I'll try to make sure. Certainly, I will be watching Survivor. I'll be doing Traitors and all that. So we'll talk about it all again next week. When they announce those votes for Survivor, y'all keep track of them because I really do want to talk about those next week and see how similar we are in our opinions about that game. And nothing says you got to be similar. We can have a wide range of opinions, but I'm curious to see what you guys think. All right, guys, with that being said, I'll shut it down. I'll finish up with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love you guys hanging out here every Monday night with me. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, giving a big old thumbs up is always appreciated. Guys, enjoy. I think this is the last week of February, right? It's got to be. Yeah, they're only 28 days. So, yeah, enjoy the last week of February, and then we'll be into March, and that'll be summertime down here. Y'all have a great one. Until then, guys, don't forget Wednesday Survivor, and hey, send me some DMs. Let me know what y'all thought about the first episode. Mark, tell me who you're cheering on so I know who to watch for in that first episode as well. We may do some stuff between now and Monday night show, DM or whatever. So I'll talk to y'all guys later. Have a great one. Cheers. I'll say it again. SKD 143. Have a great evening, guys. Have a great week. I'll see y'all next Monday. Until then, cheers. Y'all have a